Welcome back to In Pursuit 360. Today we're going to be talking about articulation in law enforcement and how important it is in everything that a law enforcement officer does. So stand by. All right, welcome back. So, welcome to In Pursuit 360 again. Hit that subscribe button, mash that like button for me down there, and don't forget the little bell for notifications for my next video that's coming out. Make some comments down below. And let me know maybe what topics you want to talk about, or any questions you may have, or comments you may have on the topic we're talking about. So today, we're talking about articulation in law enforcement. And it doesn't just really apply to law enforcement. It's the security world, and it's actually any world where you're writing some kind of a report or a memo, where you have to be able to express exactly what happened or why you want to do what you want to do. So if you're writing a work memo, and let's say you work in the IT world and you want to upgrade to some new server system, well, you've got to be able to express or articulate why this new server would be best for the company or for what you're trying to do. In law enforcement, it's the same thing. You have to be able to express or explain in detail exactly what happened and why you took the actions that you took, so that later, as other people are reading this report, that they know exactly why you did what you did. So in case there's ever a complaint, or when you go to court, it's going to be very clear in the way you wrote your report as to why you did what you did or why you thought what you thought. So a good example of this is if you pull a car over and you go up and start talking to the driver and you want to ask if you can search the car. Well, a good supervisor or a good department's policy or a good field training officer is going to say, okay, why do you want to search that car? Oh, I don't know, I just got a feeling. No, you don't really have a sixth sense. People will tell you you have a sixth sense, but you don't. It's you've seen something. You have identified something in that car, in that person's behavior, that is making you want to ask to search that car. So the key is, can you articulate it? Articulation. Can you express why it is you want to ask to search that car? So it'll be things like the driver wouldn't make eye contact with me, or he was fidgeting in his seat a lot. I noticed that his hand was down by his leg and he seemed like he kept trying to tuck something under his leg. Or I could smell weed. Anybody that's familiar with marijuana knows marijuana's got a very unique smell. That's an automatic given into the car anyway, but at least it is in Virginia. But there's something that you're seeing, there's something that's happening that is making you want to investigate further. But you've got to be able to articulate it. You've got to be able to tell people why. Because if you just say, oh, I just had a feeling, they're going to be, really? So just because you had a feeling you thought you could do something? There's always something there, so you have to be able to speak to it. So pulled the vehicle over for speeding, or I pulled the vehicle over for having a tail light. I approached. As I asked the driver for the license and registration, I noticed that the passenger was fidgeting in his seat. His legs were moving around a lot, and his hands appeared that they would possibly be pushing something under his right leg. As I talked to the passenger and asked him if he was okay, he would not make eye contact with me. His speech was broken, stuttered, as if he were nervous. Okay, so see how that it's painting that picture. It paints the picture of what's going on. And so this goes in anything that you would do. So you pull a car over and it's a DUI investigation. You're doing field sobriety tests. You have to be able to articulate everything. How was the car operating before you pulled it over? Was it going over the center line? Was it going over the shoulder line? Everything before you stopped it. And then when you approached the vehicle, did he, have a strong odor of alcoholic beverage coming from his breath as he spoke or she spoke? Were their eyes glassy and bloodshot? As they got out of the car to take field sobriety test, I noticed that he had to use the door frame in the door to maintain his balance. He was very unsteady on his feet, almost tripping twice walking back to the rear of the vehicle to conduct the test. That's all articulation. Now, if you just said, I pulled the car over, he was swerving, I asked him to take some field sobriety tests, he got out of the car, he took 3 tests and he failed them, there's no articulation in that. So what if they refuse to take the test? Can you still lock them up? Well, yeah, you can, but not if you don't articulate it. You've got to be able to say that you locked him up without field sobriety test based on driving behavior, how he acted, and the things that you noted, just getting out of the vehicle when he's speaking to you. Was his speech slurred? What words did he mess up? Did he say ossifer instead of officer? Right? Because that counts. Maybe that's nervous. So just one slurred word isn't going to do it, but are there a few? Are you making mental note and articulating that in your report? So this goes in anything that you do in law enforcement. Whether you are taking a burglary report, you've got to be able to articulate everything that you've seen. The front door jamb is broken. Okay, well, there are going to be tool marks in the front door jamb. Does it appear that it was kicked and the door jamb was broken? Or can you see tool marks where you've got the small outline of, let's say, a flathead screwdriver or something that's consistent with the size of a crowbar? You need to write that. There were indentations in the door jamb near the lock that were consistent with the size and shape of some type of crowbar. Now, you're not saying it's crowbar, you're saying it's consistent with that size, which is articulation, right? So it goes in anything that you're going to do that involves writing. So security officers have the same thing when they write reports at work. You got to be able to articulate everything. Law enforcement needs to articulate. Any job where you're writing a report or an event or you're requesting something, you need to be able to articulate all the facts, everything that's pertinent to what you're writing about. So articulation is key. Articulation is key in really anything we do in life while you're trying to make a point, and any time that you're trying to write something. So in law enforcement, it's especially important when it comes to reports, arrests, crime scenes, anything that we do. Tickets, you write a speeding ticket, you need to be able to articulate all the details of the conversation you had with the driver. So articulation, key, huge in law enforcement. Because if you can't articulate, you can't make cases. So that's all I have for you today on In Pursuit 360. Again, smash that like button, hit the subscribe button. Don't forget the bell for the next time my videos are coming out. Y'all take care of yourselves and be safe out there.